How's everybody doing today? It is Monday, March 2nd. Cobra here, back for another Monday Bitcoin analysis on the Aedge Trading YouTube. Let's go ahead and get right into the charts. No time wasted. This is the first Monday video that I've done in quite some time because I was sick. The last 2 weeks I'm finally feeling completely better, so thank God for that. Let's go ahead and get into it. DueDEX is a derivatives exchange that's fair. This means no internal trading desk, no exchange token, and no hot wallets. They offer 24/7 customer support, sign-up bonuses, and even a simple, easy-to-use interface so traders of all levels of experience can get started fast. The best part is they're constantly working to improve their exchange, and they actually listen to their users' advice on how to make it better. Check out our link in the description below and get up to a $110 trading bonus with qualifying deposit now. All right, once again, starting with the weekly chart, obviously not too much has changed as of yet. We got 6 days left for our candle because it is Monday, and pretty much we're doing exactly what I thought we would be doing on the weekly chart is we're getting a little bounce here. So what's interesting to note on this weekly chart is on the Ichimoku cloud, we're using our Kijun-sen line and our Tenkan-sen line. They're almost right on top of each other, and we're using that as extremely strong support. We did close last week below the cloud, and now it looks like Bitcoin's trying to make some kind of a rebound here since we're using all of this as very strong support. On our other indicators, our RSI is pretty much sitting right in the middle, and our momentum indicator here is definitely starting to, it looks like it was kind of weak coming into the bullish zone here, and it's starting to flip over and come down just as I was starting to suspect on my last video on Friday. We did get that confirmed bearish cross here on our MACD on the weekly chart, so let's come down to a daily and see what's going on here. So we almost got into oversold territory here on our RSI, but we didn't quite reach it. So there's definitely still room for downside here, and our momentum indicator definitely in the bearish territory. Same thing with our MACD, definitely in bearish territory here. We've just been getting these slow crosses ever since we officially crossed into bearish territory here back on the 17th of February. So another important thing to note here on the daily chart, again, taking a look at our Ichimoku cloud, is there's a lot of levels of support and resistance in here that Bitcoin's just been kind of fighting back and forth for, which is why we're kind of ranging so strong here on these lower time frames. We got this big doji here on this bottom, and we're using the bottom, or well, the top of this cloud as major support. We've been using this 200 moving average on the daily as support now as well. We did close below it. That didn't last, and we actually ended up not closing below the cloud, which is a very good sign so far. But as I mentioned on my video on Friday, this is probably just a temporary bounce before we start seeing some more downside. I am expecting to see levels of about $9,000 in this resistance area up here before heading down more. So if we're coming down to a 4-hour chart now, you can see that we did make a lot of closes. We were below our Kijun-sen line for quite some time, and now we've broken above it, and we're coming back up to test this 50 EMA line. So we have been holding above just barely on the MACD on our bullish side, which is good for this bounce. I mean, coming all the way down from here, once we broke below the 200 EMA, we've definitely seen a lot of downside since then, you know, coming down from about 9,500. Now we're still under 9K at about 88.65. So we did get a bearish cross here on our 100 and 200 EMAs. Those did cross bearish, but it's only just crossing now. So there's a lot of things that can be going on here, right? So if we take our Elliott wave theory and our Fibonacci into account and take our Ichimoku off, last video I mentioned that we were starting to get this bullish divergence on our indicator up here, right? This is the SMI ergodic oscillator, and we were getting lower lows in price, but we were getting higher highs, higher lows in the SMI indicator up here. which led me to think that we were going to be getting a bounce. So that ended up holding true, and we did get a bounce here, although it did take a little longer to happen. But if you were averaging in here in expectation of a bounce, then chances are you're in some small profit right now. Now, the downside for this is that taking our Fibonacci levels here, we were using our 50% retracement as very strong support. You can see all these wicks down. We had a nice couple wicks here. We had a couple dojis here, and then we started on this nice uptrend. And again, in the last video, I mentioned that, wave fours are normally, a little longer. They tend to go sideways, or you start seeing, some kind of expanded flat or something like that, or kind of like a flat correction. And that's still holding true right now. I really didn't think that this right here was going to be our wave four, and it ended up not being the wave four. It looks like we are going to be indeed getting some kind of flat correction here, or an expanded flat. I'll redraw it just for reference if you missed the last video. Oops. Is that we're going to be seeing something, along these lines, where we see some kind of expanded flat like this, some kind of megaphone starting to form, and then we would see further downside into my expected targets, which is in this golden pocket, anywhere from about $7,700 to about like 8,200 in this zone here. So I am expecting this to climb possibly a little bit higher. On our RSI indicator up here, we actually are seeing resistance at that 56 level. So it is turning into resistance now. It looks like on the 4-hour chart, this candle is turning into a bearish hammer as of right now. So that's something that I'm definitely going to be watching very closely. So overall, there seems to be a lot of just confusion on like what Bitcoin is going to do. And the reason why is because on these daily time frames and the 4-hour time frames and stuff, we're seeing in general, just a lot of downwards movement and stuff. A lot of people are saying that, this is going to be our bottom because, we got this big doji here, but, that's not necessarily true. Dojis need confirmation. So when this candle closes on the daily chart, if we do end up getting a big bullish engulfing candle, then I would expect to see a little bit of more upside, like I said, to about the 9,000 area before continuing down. But in general, I definitely do think that we're going to be getting a larger retracement here, going from 6,400 to 14K in a little under 90 days is a pretty significant move for Bitcoin in terms of price and time. So I would be expecting a further retracement here. Now, that's not to say that we definitely have to come down to these areas, but if we are going to continue seeing further upside later on into this year, I would definitely want to see some more correction here. I mean, correcting only halfway of this entire move, to me, is if we continue up from here, it means that if we do, it would probably be pretty short-lived. I wouldn't expect to see too much of a higher high from where we stopped at about 10,500. I wouldn't be expecting to see anything into the $12,000 territory because we didn't get a really large retracement. Now, if you come down and you look at this on these smaller time frames here, you can see that this has definitely just been ranging for quite some time, right? In between our 382 and our 0.5 fib. This is kind of the range that we're playing right now, is between about 9,000 and 8,400. So we're just going to have to take this in strides and just kind of wait and see what's going to end up happening, right? Because even if we bring the Ichimoku onto the 1-hour chart here, we are inside the cloud, and there's a couple important levels here that are lining up very nicely. Is you can see that our 200 moving average, the 200 EMA, excuse me, is right on top of our 382. So this is definitely where there's going to be very strong resistance. We're getting into an area of very strong resistance right now, especially inside this cloud. The cloud hasn't gotten confirmation of if it's going to flip over or not. It's still a very bearish cloud. So these are things that I'm taking into account. I'm personally not trading this right now. It is definitely way too sideways for me to be playing this, and we haven't really been respecting these levels too much. Even as a mid range, which would be about 8,700 or so, we haven't even really used 8,700, which would be the mid range, as clear support and resistance. We've just been really choppy in here. But this last move has definitely been a pretty solid bounce from where we were. So if we're going to be confirming further downside, then I would be expecting either a rejection here, and then we'd be making some kind of a lower low here. But if the trend is going to change, and this was in fact a very short wave 5 and a very short wave 4, to me, this doesn't really look impulsive from here. If this was a wave, like if I move this here and that's our wave 4 and this was our wave 5 to complete an ABC, this doesn't really, whoops, take this off. This definitely does not look impulsive to me from here at all. We got the start of kind of an impulsive move, but we kind of hit this strong resistance at our 50 EMA line, which has been known for having very strong resistance, and we've rejected off of the 50 EMA 3 times now. So we did break above this, so that is a little bullish considering we're getting closes above the Tenkan and the Kijinsen. We closed above the 50 EMA, we had good volume. We closed and then retested here on this doji, the 100 EMA, and now we're coming up to test the 200. So this is definitely a possible scenario. There's nothing about this that breaks Elliott wave rules per se, but if this is going to be the start of some kind of impulsive move, then we'd have to be really seeing some very heavy volume coming into the market. And another reason why I'm thinking that this is probably going to be a top is because looking on these smaller time frames here, you can see we've got these 2 dojis back to back. This candle literally just opened up right now, and it looks like we're going to be coming down or flipping over. And our RSI is pretty, it's not super overbought, but we're definitely in overbought territory here. So I would expect the RSI at least cooling off a little bit and testing that 56 level before continuing to see further upside. So with that said, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. Again, it is Monday, just about 2 o'clock here on the East Coast. So make sure that you're following us on Twitter. Check out all of the links in our description below to be following the Aedge group on Twitter. Make sure that you check out all of the videos and like and subscribe on YouTube so that you're getting all those updates. And make sure that you check out the DueDEX exchange. I know that they were delayed a little bit with adding the ETH pairing. That is still in the plans. I was talking with some of them just over the weekend, and they are definitely still planning on adding ETH. They've just had some setbacks with that, so that's definitely coming very soon. And if you're interested in the exchange, go ahead, use our link in the description below, and with a qualifying deposit, you can get up to a $110 trading bonus. So definitely awesome there. With all that said, I hope you guys enjoy your week, and I will see you on Friday. Happy trading.